The Galactic Council's prize space station faces a catastrophic meltdown due to an unknown system error. Alarms blare and the alien engineers panic, scrambling for solutions within their rigid protocols. Every alien on board has been trained to follow strict guidelines to keep the station running. But now, nothing they try seems to work, and the station's self-destruct countdown begins ticking down. The situation appears utterly hopeless. Then, amid the chaos, a human engineer steps in, calm, a little disheveled, and holding a coffee mug. Unfazed by the blaring alarms and the Council's frantic commands, he takes one look at the problem and, without a second thought, sets his coffee mug down on a panel. This bizarre, seemingly trivial gesture draws incredulous looks from the alien crew. Seriously? A coffee mug? One alien stammers, clearly confused by this strange human artifact. Meanwhile, the human casually glances around and smirks. Let's just say coffee's more than a drink. It's a survival tool. Once you approve, I'll continue with the immersive setup from the alien perspective, where we'll explore their confusion and assumptions about the human, followed by the human's introduction and the subsequent escalation as multiple problems emerge. Each section will build toward the climax, alien awe, and eventual reflection, maintaining the comedic tone, pacing, and engagement prompts throughout as outlined in your script requirements. Let me know if this setup aligns with your vision for the story, and I'll begin expanding each section accordingly. On the galaxy's most treacherous planet, where atmospheric storms rage and temperatures swing wildly, the Galactic Research Council is in dire need of repairs to their weather monitoring outpost. None of the alien engineers, despite their training, are willing to set foot on the unpredictable surface. To their surprise, a human team volunteers for the job. The council members exchange doubtful glances. These humans are delicate, prone to injury, and clearly unprepared for the brutality of a planet that has claimed countless lives. But the humans arrive fully equipped, with tents, sleeping bags, campfire supplies, and most importantly, a healthy stash of marshmallows. As the humans set up their campsite with casual jokes and laughter, the aliens look on, horrified and bewildered. Their sensors show deadly atmospheric readings, and the planet's rugged landscape looks like something out of a nightmare. But the humans, undeterred, are treating the entire ordeal as a fun adventure, even roasting marshmallows over a volcanic heat vent. One alien researcher shouts over the roaring wind, "Are you all mad? This environment is lethal." The human leader laughs. You should try Earth's deserts or winters sometime. Besides, every adventure needs a campfire, right? If this aligns with what you're looking for, I'll start building out the immersive setup from the alien perspective, followed by the introduction of the humans, conflict escalation, and the humor-filled resolution with engagement prompts and pacing techniques. The planet's extreme climate, hurricane-force winds, lethal temperature swings, and seismic activity made the task seem suicidal. The Council, made up of rigid thinkers and cautious planners, couldn't comprehend why anyone would willingly venture there. But then, word came from a human expedition crew. They would go. Despite the Council's warnings, these humans volunteered for the assignment with an unexpected enthusiasm that left the Council members exchanging puzzled glances. After all, humans were fragile by galactic standards, limited to narrow temperature ranges, lacking protective exoskeletons, and unnervingly prone to accidents. How could they handle a mission like this? Days later, the alien researchers tuned into the humans' live feed for updates, expecting a grim report. Instead, they watched in shock as the humans casually set up camp on the planet's surface, pitching tents, laying out sleeping bags, and even lighting a campfire by a volcanic vent. The humans laughed, chatted, and toasted marshmallows over the intense heat, treating the lethal environment as a mere inconvenience. One alien engineer stammered in disbelief, This is madness! They're camping on a death world!" The human team leader, lifting a marshmallow to the screen, grinned and replied, "Welcome to human ingenuity. Every crisis is just another adventure." With your approval on the hook, I'll continue with the immersive setup from the alien perspective, emphasizing the aliens' bewildered reaction and their preconceptions about humans. Let me know if this setup aligns with your expectations. The Galactic Research Council, known for its cautious protocols and scientific rigor, was filled with a mix of skepticism and unease as they watched the human team's live feed from the death world below. In the Council's archives, this planet held the highest danger rating possible, hostile to nearly every known species. Its deadly storms and frequent volcanic eruptions made it uninhabitable even for the hardiest alien life forms. The Council members gathered in the command center exchanged glances as they reviewed the human team's equipment manifest. Their high-ranking analyst, Soren Tal, leaned forward, inspecting the list with wide, unblinking eyes. They murmured, "They brought sleeping bags and some kind of sugar-based confection for roasting." A young research aide, fascinated yet horrified, chimed in, "Why would they bring such primitive items? Is this some form of human ritual?" The counselors struggled to understand. In their minds, exploration missions demanded armored exosuits, intricate safety protocols, and climate-controlled habitats. Yet here were the humans, displaying what the Council could only interpret as reckless optimism. As the live feed continued, the humans gathered around their makeshift campsite, facing a sky that rumbled with thunder and gusts of wind strong enough to tear through steel. One human wrapped in a weatherproof jacket laughed over the roar of the storm, saying, "Feels like an early winter back home, doesn't it?" The rest of the crew chuckled, a few offering nods of agreement. Soren Tal, disbelieving, muttered to a colleague, "They're laughing? Do they understand what kind of danger they're in?" The Council's xenopsychologist, Eldan Ra, known for studying humans, shook their head in exasperation. "I told you," Eldan Ra said, their voice tinged with both admiration and alarm. "Humans have this habit of downplaying danger. To them, risk is a thrill, not something to avoid." A council member scoffed. "But this is irrational. How can a species so fragile have survived for so long?" Eldan Ra pulled up their notes on human psychology and resilience, a collection of reports filled with surprising accounts of human behavior. Endurance sports, exploration of extreme environments, even the invention of fire as a means to live in hostile climates. The humans' fascination with adventure was perplexing, bordering on madness. But the more Eldan Ra analyzed, the more it became clear. These humans were not driven purely by rationality, but by a deep-seated need to challenge themselves, regardless of the risks. In the live feed, a human noticed a camera drone hovering near the camp. She waved and grinned. "Hey, Council viewers, welcome to Camp Resilience. If you're watching, give us a thumbs up, or whatever equivalent you've got." The counselors exchanged glances, unsure how to respond. Eldan Ra could barely stifle a chuckle. "They're treating this like a broadcast. They're not even fazed." Soren Tal frowned. "It's disturbing. How can they be so calm?" At that moment, the human team's equipment began picking up warning signals. A massive storm front was closing in. The temperature was dropping rapidly, winds climbing to speeds that would batter even the Council's most fortified structures. One alien officer commented, "They're doomed." No species could withstand those conditions unprotected. But the humans merely zipped up their jackets, shifted closer to the fire, and took out metallic sticks to roast their marshmallows over the volcanic heat. The human leader smiled, unbothered, and said, "Guess we'll hunker down and enjoy the show." The counselors were baffled. One muttered, "Are they trying to provoke the planet?" Eldan Ra, scribbling notes furiously, said, "I don't think they're provoking it. They're adapting to it. It's as if they're treating this lethal planet as an adventure." This attitude defies our logic but seems to fit perfectly with theirs. Soren Tal adjusted their analysis, murmuring in disbelief, "Incredible. They consider it fun. If they survive, perhaps we should adapt our own protocols to allow for this kind of resilience." Eldan Ra nodded thoughtfully, whispering almost to themselves, "Yes, imagine. If we could capture even a fraction of their fearlessness, our missions would be forever changed." As the feed continued, the humans could be seen passing around mugs filled with steaming drinks, chatting and laughing as if they were gathered around a campfire on a quiet night, not huddled against the elements of a planet classified as inhospitable by every galactic standard. One of the humans leaned back, raising a cup in a mock toast to the ever-present drone monitoring their activities. To alien hospitality, he laughed, and the others joined in, lifting their mugs. And to cozy campfires on the edge of doom, someone else added, prompting even more laughter. The councilors could barely believe what they were seeing. Inside the command center, Eldan Ra blinked in sheer astonishment. They're behaving as if the environment isn't hostile at all. They're completely relaxed. One council member shook their head, muttering, "Do they even realize the level of danger they're facing?" Sorental adjusted their viewing screen, trying to analyze every human movement for signs of survival tactics. Perhaps they're ignoring their fears? It's common among some species to suppress fear responses in life-threatening situations. The humans, however, seemed anything but fearful. Their behavior was beyond casual. They were joking, sipping from their cups, and passing around small, square packages. One human pulled a marshmallow off a skewer, his face lighting up as he took a bite. "Nothing like a campfire on an alien world," he remarked to the drone, sending a friendly wink in its direction. "We've got heat, snacks, and the best view in the galaxy." One of the council's scientific advisors stared at the feed, perplexed. That is molten lava they're using to roast food. Their proximity to it alone is hazardous. Do they not understand? Eldan Ra leaned forward, eyes alight with fascination. "I don't think it's that they don't understand. I think they know exactly what they're doing, and they're doing it anyway." The humans continued with their camp-like rituals, seemingly oblivious to the thunderous quakes and the ground's subtle, constant tremor. One of the human explorers, a geologist, crouched to inspect a nearby rock formation with a small handheld magnifier. He spoke into his wrist communicator, addressing the council members watching the feed. "This place is fascinating. We're getting readings that suggest tectonic activity unique to this system. It's beautiful, really, the way the minerals crystallize around volcanic vents." Another councilor, barely containing their disbelief, stammered, "They think it's beautiful? They should be retreating, not studying." The humans' comfort seemed to escalate with every passing moment. One of them turned to the drone, saying with a grin, "So, you watching this live? If so, let us know. We'd love to see those thumbs-up reactions." Back at the command center, an alien technician scrambled to interpret the human slang. "Thumbs up? Is this some kind of human approval signal?" Eldan Ra, bemused, chuckled quietly. "Yes, it's a form of positive feedback, an indication they're in good spirits. It's odd, yet strangely charming." At that moment, a tremor hit, more powerful than the others. The ground heaved and volcanic vents erupted in bursts of bright, molten rock, casting an otherworldly glow over the humans' encampment. The council members braced themselves, expecting the humans to finally acknowledge the danger and flee. But instead, the human team leader glanced at the rocks, muttering a calm, "Whoa, that one's a little close. Let's set up the tents a few meters to the left." He gestured to his team, and within moments the humans gathered their gear, shifted a few meters, and resumed their relaxed gathering, seemingly unfazed by the near eruption. The council chamber fell into stunned silence. Eldan Ra shook their head in amazement. "They're unfazed. This is by far the most unorthodox behavior I've ever seen." Sorental furiously tapped on their data tablet, logging every detail for further analysis. "It's as if they're biologically incapable of feeling panic in dangerous settings. Or maybe they simply embrace it." One young research aide, clearly enthralled by the scene, blurted out, "I wish I could be down there, experiencing it for myself." A council elder, visibly shocked, raised a brow ridge. "You want to join them?" The aide flushed, stammering, "Well, not exactly, but there's something compelling about how they face danger with such ease. They're so adaptable." The councilors' shock turned to contemplative silence as they watched the humans continue setting up their strange camp. They gathered around, sharing stories, laughter, and what looked like an impromptu skit, apparently for the drone's amusement. One even turned to the camera and said, "This planet's got nothing on a proper camping trip. Drop a comment if you'd spend a night out here." Eldan Ra scratched their head thoughtfully. "This could be educational. We study every variable, every risk, every factor. But perhaps we overlook one of the most powerful traits any species can possess: adaptability through enjoyment." Sorental raised their data tablet, nodding slowly. "We should observe more. See how far this enjoyment method of adaptation can take them. With each minute, the human team's casual nature left the council more captivated. This was more than simple tolerance of danger. This was a level of adaptability they had yet to see in any species. The humans, through laughter, community, and sheer ingenuity, had turned the deadly environment into just another campsite. If this section meets your expectations, I'll proceed with conflict escalation. Multiple problems emerge, where the humans encounter a series of environmental challenges, yet continue to surprise the council with their ingenuity and calm demeanor. As night deepened on the Death World, the environmental hazards escalated in intensity, far surpassing anything even the Galactic Council had anticipated. Gale-force winds screamed across the landscape, the temperature dropped rapidly, and lightning arced through the darkened sky with almost relentless frequency. To any rational observer, it was clear, no species should be able to survive such an onslaught without state-of-the-art protection. But the humans? They huddled closer around their campfire, chatting over the roar of the wind and barely seeming to notice the extreme conditions. The council watched in stunned fascination as the humans adapted in real time. One human, grinning, wrapped her scarf tighter around her neck and pulled up her hood, raising a thermos to her lips with a smirk. She addressed the camera drone. Now this, folks, is what I call camping with a view. And for any of you back in the council room, if you've got suggestions for dealing with high winds, leave them in the comments. We could always use tips. A council elder, visibly alarmed, turned to Eldan Ra. Surely this is reckless even for humans. Do they have no sense of self-preservation? Eldan Ra, trying to contain both worry and a tinge of admiration, replied, Self-preservation? Yes, but on their own terms. It seems they thrive on their ability to take the uncontrollable and mold it into something manageable, at least in their minds. Just then, a new alarm on the humans' equipment began to blare. A seismometer set up nearby flashed with warnings. A minor quake had been detected deep below the surface, and tremors could be expected any minute. The councilors held their breath, expecting the humans to finally take notice of the danger. Surely now they would retreat to the safety of their shuttle, which waited nearby, shielded and fortified for evacuation. But instead the humans looked at the flashing warning light, shrugged, and made a few casual preparations. One of them laughed and said, Well, this place is really throwing everything it's got at us. All right, folks, earthquake drill. Grab the marshmallows. To the councilor's shock, the humans didn't flee or even look particularly alarmed. Instead, they moved swiftly but calmly, securing their tents and equipment with the ease of seasoned professionals who had practiced countless drills. They crouched near their campfire, grinning, one of them raising a marshmallow to roast as they waited for the tremors. The ground began to shake violently. Dust and small rocks rattled around them, and the councilors braced as if the quake was occurring in their own command center. Yet the humans kept their focus, even as one joked to the drone, So, council viewers, anyone up there ever roasted marshmallows during an earthquake? If not, you're missing out. Sorental could only stare in bewilderment. They're treating this as a form of entertainment. I cannot fathom this level of composure, or perhaps this sheer audacity. Eldan Ra leaned forward, watching with intense curiosity. It's not just composure, they're actively creating a positive experience in an environment we view as fatal. It's unlike anything we've observed. As the tremors subsided, the humans resumed their routine, unfazed, continuing to toast marshmallows and chat around their fire. One of the crew members, a geologist, pointed to a glowing rock formation revealed by the quake. Look at that. The minerals here are reacting to the seismic activity. Get the cameras rolling. This is a once-in-a-lifetime shot. The council chamber buzzed with low murmurs as the aliens observed. Their sensors indicated that the mineral formation was surrounded by volcanic vents and emitting extreme levels of heat, dangerous even by human standards. Yet the humans moved closer, setting up cameras and taking notes with enthusiasm, as if they were on a casual field expedition rather than a planet known for its violent hostility. One counselor, horrified, exclaimed, "They're moving closer? They can't possibly survive that heat exposure without our shielding technology. They'll surely perish." Eldan Ra observed in fascination, as the humans' live feed continued to display their strange, almost casual bravery. They've anticipated the dangers, and instead of retreating, they've adapted. It's like they have an instinct for making threats approachable. Then a sudden and severe gust of wind whipped across the campsite, sending dust and rocks flying. The council members flinched, expecting the humans to be forced into an emergency retreat. But instead, the human team leader squinted through the dust storm and chuckled. "Looks like the wind's picking up again. Guess it's time to improvise." Without a second thought, the humans sprang into action. One member of the team pulled out a roll of heavy-duty tape, while another grabbed a set of stakes and a tarp, and they began securing their camp with a speed and efficiency that astonished the council. They even found time to make a joke to the watching drone. "Duct tape, folks. Never leave Earth without it." A council member muttered in disbelief. "Duct tape? On a planet with conditions so extreme, we're monitoring from a fortified station? How can they be so confident in such primitive materials?" Eldan Ra replied with a tone that was half awe, half amusement. "It's not the materials they rely on, it's their adaptability. The tools are secondary. What we're witnessing is a mastery of improvisation. They view every setback as a puzzle, not a problem." As the storm settled once more, the human crew continued their makeshift reinforcements, chatting and laughing through the process. One team member turned to the drone and said, "If you're watching this and think we're crazy, well, you're probably right. But hey, if you're liking the chaos, don't forget to subscribe for more survival tips." Soren Tal, observing in stunned silence, murmured, "It's as if they're thriving in the danger. They seem to feed off it. Are we the ones who've been misunderstanding survival all along?" Eldan Ra nodded thoughtfully. "Indeed, their approach to danger is not just to survive it, but to coexist with it, to even welcome it." The humans had nearly finished stabilizing their camp when yet another emergency alert sounded. A burst of intense solar radiation had been detected, and dangerous energy particles were hurtling toward the planet's surface. The Council's protocols dictated an immediate retreat or the deployment of advanced shielding. Yet, to the Council's amazement, the humans merely donned reflective jackets and set up a makeshift shelter using metallic blankets, laughing about catching some extra UVs. One of them joked to the drone, "Got any sunscreen recommendations, Council folks? SPF 10,000? The councilors were almost speechless. Soren Tal looked to Eldan Ra, eyes wide. Surely they know how reckless this is. A solar burst on this planet's surface could be deadly. Eldan Ra, almost chuckling at this point, shook their head. Yes, but they seem to trust their ability to handle it. It's humbling. Their resilience is not in their strength, but in their acceptance of risk and the humor they bring to it. Finally, as the solar burst struck, the humans gathered under their makeshift shelter, casually observing the dazzling flashes of light against the strange mineral formations around them. One leaned out slightly, holding a camera. "This is amazing. Definitely one for the memory books. Galactic Council, if you're tuning in, thanks for sending us down here." A collective, disbelieving silence fell over the council. They had watched the humans adapt to every hazard with an unprecedented blend of humor, creativity, and resilience. It was as though they viewed every crisis as just another story to tell, another challenge to meet. The council's data logs filled with new insights, notes about resilience and adaptability they had never thought to include before. Eldan Ra, visibly moved, looked around at the gathered councilors. Perhaps it's time we revisited our own understanding of danger. To humans, survival is not merely a goal, it's an experience. And they've shown us that perhaps the greatest tool we lack is not technology, but courage. In that moment, it became clear. The humans' way of tackling problems, through camaraderie, laughter, and a seemingly boundless willingness to adapt, might just be the most advanced survival strategy the galaxy had ever witnessed. Soren Tal sighed, rubbing their temples. We may need to update our records. Apparently, the concept of challenge means something entirely different to humans. Eldan Ra, with a mischievous twinkle in their eye, mused, I think we should start by studying what allows them to face danger with such ease. Perhaps it's time to rethink our definitions of courage and adaptability. For several moments, no one spoke, each counselor absorbed in their own thoughts, contemplating the implications of what they'd just witnessed. After generations of strict protocols and meticulously planned missions, it was hard to accept that a species as fragile as humans could exhibit a resilience and fearlessness they had long considered irrational, if not downright reckless. The youngest counselor finally spoke up again, tentative but determined. Perhaps we could implement some of their practices on a trial basis. After all, if humans can survive these conditions with nothing but a few basic tools and laughter, then surely our species, far more advanced technologically, could do the same. Sorental's expression grew contemplative. It's not the technology that enables them, though. It's something intangible, something in their mindset, their spirit. They've shown us that survival isn't just about shielding oneself from risk, but embracing it with a sense of humor and camaraderie. It's an outlook we've never considered. A few counselors murmured in agreement, some even nodding, realizing the profound truth in Sorental's words. Their entire framework for exploration was built on avoidance, of hazards, of unknowns, of anything that could introduce variables beyond their control. But these humans, they faced those very variables with open arms, unafraid of the chaos that could ensue. One counselor spoke with growing conviction. Perhaps then it is not just the physical strength or intellect that matters in exploration, but a resilience of spirit, an ability to face the unknown without shrinking back. If we adopted even a fraction of their approach, we might discover worlds and capabilities beyond what we thought possible. The notion rippled through the council chamber. Eldan Ra, watching their colleagues' reactions, saw the subtle shift. These seasoned scientists and leaders, trained to respect protocol and stability, were slowly realizing the possibility that humanity's approach to survival, of leaning into unpredictability with laughter and adaptability, was something worth emulating. Finally, Eldan Ra proposed, "Let's create a new council initiative, a program to study and integrate this human mindset into our protocols. We could call it something fitting, like Project Resilience. We'll introduce it as a trial to incorporate adaptability practices, open to volunteers who wish to learn from humanity's unique methods." One by one, the counselors nodded, murmuring their agreement. Some even showed faint smiles, a rare sight in a setting so accustomed to rigidity and seriousness. Eldan Ra knew this moment was historic. Humanity's influence was already beginning to reshape the council's outlook, planting seeds of change that would resonate for generations. As they watched the humans pack up their campsite and prepare for the night, the council reflected on how one mission had transformed their perspective. For years, they had viewed humans as weak, overly vulnerable, and far too attached to their simplistic tools and optimistic attitudes. But now they understood. It was precisely those traits, the humor, the ingenuity, the refusal to let fear dictate their actions, that made humans some of the strongest explorers in the galaxy. The humans signed off from their broadcast with a cheerful wave. "Thanks for joining us on Camp Resilience, Galactic Council. Remember, life's too short to take things too seriously, especially out here on the edge. Until next time." With the screen dimmed, the council sat in reflective silence. The quiet stretched on as they processed the night's revelations. Eldan Ra broke the silence with a knowing smile. "I think it's safe to say that humanity has taught us something invaluable tonight." Sorental nodded, a sense of newfound respect in their eyes. "Indeed, we once thought of humans as primitive, but now I see that they possess a kind of wisdom, one we've lost along the way." And so, with a resolve to embrace a bit of that unorthodox human resilience, the council prepared to reimagine their approach to exploration, inspired by a team of humans who had made the galaxy's deadliest world their temporary campsite. Humanity had not only survived the death world, they had thrived there, proving that sometimes the greatest strength came not from shielding oneself from danger, but from facing it with humor, creativity, and a spirit of adventure. Despite the brutal conditions, the human team had weathered every challenge, and now they faced a final mission, securing the weather monitoring outpost that had originally brought them here. The outpost was an advanced structure designed by the Council, packed with sensors, and powered by the latest alien technology, yet it had been rendered inoperable by the planet's volatile conditions. The councilors hoped that, with their assistance, the humans might finally secure the outpost. However, they didn't anticipate what happened next. As the humans approached the outpost, they took stock of its current state. Sections of the outpost were damaged from repeated tremors, with large cracks running through its walls. To make matters worse, a solar-powered shield generator, designed to protect it from the intense weather, was offline. The councilors prepared to issue an emergency evacuation directive, expecting the humans to retreat. But, as they had seen time and again, the humans had other ideas. The team leader squinted at the damaged outpost, calculating their approach with a grin. "All right, team, looks like we've got our work cut out for us. Grab the toolkit and bring the duct tape." The councilors collectively flinched at the mention of duct tape. One councilor muttered, "Surely they're not going to repair the shield with duct tape." Eldon Ra, who had grown accustomed to the humans' unorthodox methods, only smiled knowingly. "Wait and see. If I've learned anything on this mission, it's that their methods, however primitive they may appear, have a strange way of working." The human crew split into teams. While one group assessed the structural damage, another set up a makeshift workshop nearby, laying out their tools, gadgets, and of course rolls of duct tape. The councilors looked on, utterly captivated, as the humans got to work. One of the engineers called to the camera drone, "All right, Galactic Council, here's a lesson in human ingenuity. We may not have fancy tech like you, but we've got grit and some good old problem solving." As if to emphasize the point, they wrapped a cracked sensor with layers of duct tape and tested it, watching it power back on with a faint hum. The councilors gaped, surprised to see that the patched-up sensor worked, if not perfectly, at least well enough to send out a signal. But the biggest challenge was yet to come. The shield generator needed to be fixed and powered up if the outpost was to survive another day on the Death World. The Council's engineers had attempted remote repairs to no avail. The unit was simply too damaged. When the Council suggested immediate retreat, the humans waved it off. The human team leader raised an eyebrow at the camera, addressing the Council directly. "Retreat? Not a chance. We're not done yet. Besides, who says you need everything working perfectly? Sometimes you just need to get creative." With that, the humans took a bold approach. Instead of trying to repair the shield generator entirely, they decided to jerry-rig a partial solution by wiring it to a smaller power source, a thermal battery they had previously charged using volcanic vents. This plan was unconventional at best, borderline reckless at worst. One of the Council's engineers, watching the humans patch the shield generator with duct tape, wires, and thermal battery packs, was beside himself with concern. "This is unthinkable. One misstep, and the entire outpost could be destroyed." Eldon Ra, with a growing sense of admiration, replied, "Yes, but think of what we might learn from their audacity." Humans don't shy away from imperfect solutions. They embrace them. Perhaps that's why they're so successful in chaotic situations. The humans continued assembling their makeshift power rig, their chatter filled with jokes and light-hearted banter. Despite the intensity of the situation, their morale was unbreakable. They even joked with the councilors, saying, "Let us know in the comments if you think we're onto something or if we're just crazy." A few councilors, having been drawn in by the humans' humor, found themselves smiling. Against all reason, they couldn't help but root for these resourceful, unshakable beings who thrived on improvisation. Finally, the humans stepped back from the shield generator, their work complete. The team leader looked at his crew and gave a thumbs up, saying, "All right, team, let's power her up. Fingers crossed, Council." The councilors held their breath as the human leader pressed a button. For a tense moment, nothing happened. Then, with a low hum, the shield generator powered on. The flickering shield appeared around the outpost, weak but functional, as it absorbed the energy from the thermal batteries. It wasn't the most stable solution, but it was enough to withstand the planet's unpredictable elements. The council chamber erupted in stunned silence. One councilor whispered in awe, They did it. They actually did it, with duct tape and improvised power sources. Unbelievable." Eldon Ra, beaming with pride, nodded. "They did more than fix the outpost. They've demonstrated a form of adaptability we've never encountered. A willingness to make things work, no matter how unconventional the solution. But just as the councilors were beginning to celebrate, another unexpected problem emerged. A sudden, violent storm rolled over the horizon, larger and more intense than anything the council's sensors had detected before. The skies darkened, thunder rumbled, and lightning strikes began hitting dangerously close to the outpost. The humans glanced at the rapidly approaching storm, their expressions unyielding. "Looks like the planet's not done with us yet," the team leader shouted, rallying his team with a grin. With no time to spare, the humans sprang into action once more. Their shield might hold for a while, but the volatile generator could only withstand so much. The team huddled together, brainstorming their options, while the councilors watched with growing tension. To the council, the situation seemed insurmountable. Even with the patched-up shield generator, it was only a matter of time before the outpost was overwhelmed. But the humans didn't give up. In a flash of inspiration, the team leader proposed a daring plan. "Let's use the thermal batteries from our backup equipment and give the shield one last boost. It might not hold forever, but it'll give us a fighting chance." The councilors were incredulous. Sorental shook his head. "They're willing to risk everything, even their backup supplies? This level of commitment, it's beyond what we ever thought possible." Eldanra's eyes shone with excitement. "This is what they do best. Push boundaries, adapt, and commit fully, even when the odds seem impossible." With no hesitation, the humans detached their backup thermal batteries, rigging them to the shield generator. They worked in synchrony, moving quickly, and communicating with an unspoken understanding that left the councilors watching in awe. The team leader addressed the council one last time, shouting over the storm's roar, "If this works, maybe give us a little like for our ingenuity." A few councilors couldn't help but chuckle, their tension breaking momentarily. Eldanra smirked, shaking their head with admiration. "Oh, they'll get more than a like from us if they survive this." As the storm reached its peak, the humans completed their setup and fired up the generator once more. The shield's strength increased, creating a protective barrier just as the storm slammed into the outpost with full force. Inside the shield, the humans crouched together, laughing as they felt the generator pulse under the strain, holding steady despite the immense pressure. Finally, after what felt like hours, the storm began to weaken, passing over the outpost and moving toward the horizon. The humans' makeshift rig held just long enough to weather the worst of it. As the skies cleared, the shield generator powered down with a soft hum, its job done. The council chamber erupted into applause. Councilors who had been doubtful now expressed genuine admiration. Sorental clapped slowly, his face filled with awe. "They've done the impossible, not with our technology or our protocols, but with creativity, courage, and a willingness to risk everything." Eldanra beamed, addressing the council. "We've learned something invaluable today. The humans didn't just survive. They proved that adaptability is our greatest asset. They taught us that sometimes perfection is the enemy of progress." One councilor turned to the screen, where the human team was celebrating with high fives and laughter. I think we need to formally recognize their contributions. We could adapt some of their methods into our own protocol. With Project Resilience as our guide, we can face future challenges with new, human-inspired strategies." The humans, noticing the camera drone, gave it a final wave. "Thanks for the support, Council. And remember, if you're ever out here yourselves, bring plenty of duct tape and coffee." Back in the council chamber, a sense of camaraderie and respect filled the room. The humans had inspired something more than awe. They'd sparked a genuine shift in the council's way of thinking. Eldanra looked to Sorental, smiling. "Perhaps this is just the beginning. With a bit of that human spirit, there's no limit to what we can accomplish." The council nodded in agreement, knowing that from this moment on, the galaxy's approach to exploration would never be the same. Humanity's resilience had redefined what was possible, and the council felt they had gained a new ally in their quest for discovery and understanding. As the humans packed up their makeshift camp and prepared to leave the Death World, the Galactic Research Council reflected on the profound impact this mission had left on them. Councilors who once viewed humans as reckless or even primitive now saw them in a new light. The humans had accomplished what the most advanced alien protocols and technology could not. They had turned a deadly world into a temporary home through creativity, camaraderie, and an indomitable spirit. In the council chamber, Sorental gazed at the fading feed from the human encampment, where the team was waving goodbye to the drone. "It's humbling," Sorental murmured. "They achieved so much with so little, I doubt any of us would have even considered it possible." Eldon Ra nodded thoughtfully. "They didn't just survive, they thrived, even here. They used simple tools, laughter and courage as their defenses. Their resilience challenges everything we thought we knew about survival." One of the younger counselors, inspired by what they had seen, suggested, "Perhaps we should document this mission as a new case study, something future teams can learn from. We could call it the human approach. After all, this may be the beginning of a new era for the council." Other counselors nodded in agreement, visibly moved by the suggestion. Eldon Ra, always quick to see the potential for growth, expanded on the idea. "Not only that, we should integrate aspects of their philosophy into our training programs. Imagine if our own teams could combine their technology with human adaptability. It would revolutionize our approach to exploration." Another counselor added, "It's their spirit, isn't it? Their willingness to adapt, laugh, and support each other, even in the face of overwhelming odds. We've spent so long fearing risk that we forgot it could be an opportunity. Perhaps we've been too focused on perfect solutions instead of creative ones." The council members murmured in agreement, the realization settling over them like a wave. They weren't just in awe of the humans' actions, they were inspired by them. For the first time, the counselors saw an opportunity to reinvent their protocols and adopt the adaptable, spirited approach humans embodied. As they made plans for this new initiative, they received a message from the human team leader, broadcasting through the drone one last time. "Thank you, Galactic Council, for watching out for us. And if you ever need a hand with a risky job, you know where to find us." The human's tone was warm, sincere, a sign of mutual respect that hadn't been there at the start of the mission. Eldon Ra responded with a soft smile, nodding in acknowledgement. "And thank you. You have shown us the value of courage, even when it defies logic. From now on, you will always be welcome as partners on any mission." The human team leader grinned, giving a thumbs up to the camera. "And remember, next time you face something impossible, just bring duct tape and a sense of humor." With a casual wave, the human team boarded their shuttle, leaving the counselors in a reflective silence. As the feed faded, Sorental turned to Eldon Ra with a thoughtful expression. "Their words, duct tape and a sense of humor, are simple, yet they carry such wisdom. We spend so much time refining our methods, overthinking each variable. But sometimes, maybe it's enough just to face the unknown with a bit of courage and resourcefulness." Eldon Ra chuckled softly, nodding in agreement. "Exactly. Humans showed us that the solution to the unknown isn't always found in the complex or the perfect. Sometimes it's found in the willingness to adapt, to laugh, and to move forward with whatever you have." In the days that followed, the Council drafted a new directive, inspired by the mission on the Death World. They called it Project Resilience, a pioneering initiative that would train exploration teams to approach challenges with adaptability and creativity, encouraging them to think beyond rigid protocols. They even created a special section on human-inspired problem-solving techniques, highlighting the virtues of improvisation, camaraderie, and, of course, the indispensable value of duct tape. The Council also established a ceremonial award, the Human Spirit Award, given to any individual or team who demonstrated extraordinary resilience in the face of seemingly impossible odds. The first recipients, of course, were the human team who had transformed the Council's approach to exploration forever. Months later, the Galactic Council's new protocols were put to the test when an exploration team encountered a dangerous storm on an alien moon. Equipped with Project Resilience training, the team responded with flexibility, creating a temporary shelter out of improvised materials, a method they had learned from studying the human mission logs. For the first time, the Council's own explorers faced the unknown with an approach that combined advanced technology and the creative adaptability inspired by humanity. The mission logs from the Death World became required reading for all Council explorers. Eldan Ra's report on the human approach was studied across the galaxy, changing how countless species approached dangerous, unpredictable situations. The legend of the humans and their fearless camping trips spread far beyond the Council's records, turning into a story that inspired explorers from countless worlds. Back on Earth, the human team received a surprising transmission from the Galactic Research Council. Soren Tal appeared on the screen, giving them an official commendation for exemplary service in galactic resilience and adaptability. He concluded with a respectful bow, adding, "Your contributions have inspired new training methods across the galaxy. Because of you, we face the unknown with a bit more courage and a little less fear." The human team, visibly touched, saluted back with mock seriousness before laughing. Their leader grinned, giving Soren Tal a thumbs up. "Well, if you ever need more duct tape, just call us." The Council watched the humans' joyful camaraderie with newfound respect. For generations, the Galactic Research Council had defined progress by caution, precision, and technological prowess. But now, they understood that true progress lay in balancing caution with courage, and that some of the most powerful tools in the galaxy were laughter, adaptability, and the willingness to face uncertainty head-on. As the broadcast ended, Eldan Ra whispered almost to himself, "We've learned so much more than we ever imagined." And as the Council embraced their new, human-inspired approach to exploration, they couldn't help but look forward to what new discoveries lay ahead, knowing that, armed with resilience and a touch of human ingenuity, there was no challenge they couldn't face. If this resolution captures the tone and themes you wanted, I'll proceed with the final epilogue, adding a lasting touch of humor and reflection as the Council incorporates humanity's spirit into their future missions. Let me know if this is in line with your expectations. You said, next, ChatGPT said, epilogue, 500, 1,000 words. Months after the mission on the Death World, the Galactic Research Council had fully embraced its new approach to exploration. Thanks to Project Resilience, all Council expeditions were now equipped with a human adaptability kit, a box that included emergency duct tape, a small manual on improvisational problem-solving, and even a mock coffee mug inscribed with the phrase, "When in doubt, improvise." Word of the humans' daring mission had spread far beyond the Council. Across the galaxy, alien societies were fascinated by stories of the humans who had transformed a deadly world into a camping trip, using nothing more than creativity, resilience, and an unbreakable spirit. Soon, humans were receiving requests from alien governments and organizations who wanted to study their methods firsthand. Humanity, once seen as fragile newcomers, was gaining a reputation as the galaxy's go-to problem solvers. Back at the Council, Soren Tal sat in the command center, reflecting on the changes inspired by humanity's influence. Nearby, Eldan Ra was reviewing field reports from recent missions, many of which mentioned the success of human-inspired techniques. Both counselors wore subtle smiles as they skimmed through the logs, filled with tales of adaptable explorers who had, time and again, embraced challenges that once would have paralyzed them with fear. One report in particular caught their attention. It was from a team stationed on a volatile moon, which had encountered unexpected lava flows and near-impenetrable dust storms. Instead of retreating, the team had used their adaptability kit to reinforce their base, and even set up a communication link with the Council while huddling near a volcanic vent. The closing lines of their report read, "We've taken to calling our makeshift shelter camp Resilience. Thanks to the humans, we now know how to turn a crisis into an adventure." Soren Tal and Eldan Ra exchanged a glance, both of them suppressing laughter. "Camp Resilience," Soren Tal murmured, shaking his head with amusement. "It appears humans have not only influenced our methods, but also our language. I never thought I'd see the day when our explorers were celebrating obstacles." Eldan Ra nodded with a satisfied smile. "And that, perhaps, is their greatest gift to us, a sense of joy in the unknown, the ability to look at risk as opportunity." Just then, a message pinged on their terminal. It was from the human team that had completed the original mission, sending an update from their latest exploration, this time on an Arctic moon with temperatures that could freeze most advanced machinery. The message read, "Hello, Galactic Council. We're live from the freezing plains of Tirax 5.